Hi, beautiful people. So your words have power, and I want to suggest to you a word, and you can do what you will with it. The beach. So when I said that, and when you think about that, the beach, what happens? Do you see a sand and an emerald ocean and blue sky, and you're not wearing any shoes, right? You might be standing on the beach with your feet in the sand. It's a sunny day, of course. So I didn't suggest any of those things. You saw the image. Now, you don't just see the word beach when I say beach. You experience something. So words aren't just words. They're a form of expression that is energy. And that's so powerful that happens in your mind. That's the reaction of it for you. So you can see how, if you say things negatively, how that would affect you or other people. Similarly, if you said positive things, how that would affect you. So your words actually carry a lot of power, and they actually change the world around you in that sense. Like, if you say things over yourself, you're worthy. You are worthy of love. You're beautiful. I am beautiful. I am worthy. Say those things over yourself, even if you don't believe them. Because what I find is lots of people that are struggling would think these things, like I did. So I can prove to you, and I believe that they're true, I can prove to you that you're worthy and you're beautiful. And that's just by you existing right now. You exist right now as an expression of the universe. You didn't choose to be born. You exist right now in the present. And you have this beautiful gift of the universe. You have every validity of owning your life than anything, because you just exist. There's nothing you have to do or anything that you have to say or become to get that. You are that already. So it's true no matter what you believe. Now, you have the freedom not to believe that. So that's a beautiful thing about existing in this universe, is because you're free to choose what to do with that gift, which is love, right? If you don't have choice, and it's not love. So you have a choice to not believe that you're worthy by existing right now in the present. So as a being that exists right now, you are here because of worthiness and because of love. So you can say those things over yourself and believe that that's true, because it is. You have just as much right to breathe this air than anything, than these trees, than that gigantic sun over there. Apparently it's sort of a moderate-sized star. So that's an example of how powerful words are, right? So now, what is language? What are words? What is it, right? Because it's not just a word, it's language, it's expression, like I was saying, but yeah, also it's energy. So if you match that with like second law of thermodynamics, which is like all energy can't be destroyed or created, it's just dissipated, or a flow of energy, right? So I say a word, it turns into a vibration, which your eardrums hear, and then your mind connects with it and creates that image. And that's what you'd call, like transmutation of energy. And transference of energy. You can also tie this in with Dan Siegals' mindfulness teaching and what he coins interpersonal neurobiology, which is like interpersonal because it's interpolated across many sciences, right? Which is exactly this. Like, he talks about this, and he's a doctor, and I'm not, so, you know, listen to him. So he says, you know, exactly what that is, like energy. You don't just hear, like, the word is constructed and formed and then sent in a vibration, and it's transferred as energy. I digress. So I can also talk about, like, say, like Dr. Emoto. Now, before you think about what I'm about to say, it's not what I'm about to say. So, you know, people obviously don't believe in his experiment. He did that rice experiment, the water experiment, where you say things over the water and the rice, and, you know, it has been pretty much disproven by a lot of people. And in that sense, like how the words didn't keep the rice alive anyway. Why do you need an experiment? This is my point, to show you that words have an effect, right? Because you know very well, if somebody says some really mean, harsh things to you, especially if there's someone you love, that don't feel good, and that has an effect on you. Similarly, if somebody encourages you, how does that feel? Encouraging, loving somebody, telling them they're beautiful, caring for them, validating and just approving and speaking the truth of their worthiness of existing right now. Your worthiness of existing right now, right? That's a good thing. You don't need some experiment to prove that. That's the experiment. Just be honest with yourself, be present, be aware, and you'll recognize these things. You won't need validity from somewhere else, which is why I think is another problem maybe we have at this time, because we're so used to everybody telling you how to feel. You know, everything's there to tell you how to feel all the time. You don't have to make a decision. You don't have to be present. You don't have to be aware. You can just act on autopilot. But when you do become aware and you do become present, you are able to focus your mind, and your intuition goes a lot higher, and you start reaping the benefits of that. And that might look like you not having anxiety or depression anymore. This is essentially why I'm talking about all this. This is to do with overcoming these sorts of things. And this is why I like talking about these things, as well as I find it really interesting. And I am speaking from experience. I'm not just bullshitting half of these things to you, you know. So some of them are philosophies, but which I just find interesting. But I find it's interesting to talk about this because when I was going through it, it was very hard to find things where people talked like this. So I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I can't really think about anything else. Oh yeah, I did. Well, that's right. All right. Okay, how about this? So, dissipation of energy, right? Want to tie in second law of thermodynamics with the idea of symbolism, and as children of the human race, right? And we have this, how we're all connected in that sense, and the collective unconscious, right? So there's things in there. So there's words that you can say that are already in there that will have an effect of symbolism, right? Which is why mythologies and stories that we have today are all related and all similar, because they're the same stories. It's a story of you, it's a story of me, it's a story of us. So when you have a thought and you create that energy and pass it on, and you pass on that energy, where does that energy come from? This is what I'm talking about. This is where I'm have an interesting theory, right? So if that's true, and it is all energy, that thought came from somewhere that I had that expressed it to you for you to think it. I don't want to get all freaky on you. I just thought it was interesting, that's all. So I guess be mindful of the words that you're saying. You are worthy of life right now. You're worthy of love. You have it. And be kind to yourself. Goodbye, beautiful people.